His address. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Hameed Haroon.
Ladies and gentlemen, while thanking the Prime Minister of Pakistan, the Honorable Shahid Khaqan Abbasi, I want to thank you at short notice for being present today. I will not pretend to you that this is a great period for the freedom of the press. But I would like to start by saying that I congratulate Shahid Khaqan Abbasi for his performance as a tolerant, considerate, hardworking, and humble Prime Minister. We are not likely to get people like that often. The struggle for interim governments will tell you, and the way we treat our former prime ministers should tell you how difficult it is to live up to the expectations of the task, and that one man has tried. And I say tried because that is more than many have done, has tried to protect the independence of the press. Sometimes it is not in the hands of the executive. Sometimes it is not in the hands of the elected government. But for his effort, for his dedication, for his hard work on trying to make the machinery of state work in the last several months and produce some dramatic turning points which are going to change the history of this nation, whether it is in FATA or it is in the South. Members of the APNS, I request you to rise and provide a standing ovation to the Prime Minister for working so hard for the cause of this country. I do this because we are close to the Prime Minister's last day in office. And I believe it is important to thank him for his efforts in trying to put this country back on the rails when it seemed a few months ago this was not going to be possible. It takes exceptional ability to nurture, to repair, and to nourish. And I think the Prime Minister has done that. But I want to start with an important comment. I will not speak long, because if the Prime Minister does you the courtesy of coming to present your awards and addressing you in his last couple of days, then we should not be greedy with his time or try and get him to be here on an overlong basis. He has other appointments, press conferences, and trips to Balochistan today. But I would like to say that over the past few years, we are encountering the most dangerous attack on Article 19 of the Constitution. Let us be very clear, first of all, that Article 19 of the Constitution says there shall be freedom of press, subject to reasonable restriction. We know what those reasonable restrictions are. They are specified. None of this attack is coming from the Prime Minister or his government. But unfortunately, the modern state is a complex of many institutions. And we find that in the attack on press freedoms, not silent attacks, not modest attacks, but blatant attacks on the freedom of expression, we find that state institutions are not showing the restraint and the respect for the Constitution. I would like to tell them what I told President Musharraf many years ago. If in the war of terror, if on the war on terror you destroy the institutions of democracy, and there is no democracy to build up after the war is over, there will be no future for democracy in this country. I would tell, not Shahid Khaqan Abbasi, who has been tolerant, diligent, and careful, not Maryam Aurangzeb, who has worked, I would say, slaved, to set about a structure which was missing. If Maryam Aurangzeb did not believe in freedom of expression, she would not reserve the announcement of her culture and film policy in the last 2 days of her tenure. But I want to tell you, and this is not a platform to attack on anybody, to embarrass the Prime Minister, to embarrass the Information Minister. This is a clear platform where we wish to assert we will not be party to the subjugation of the press, we will not be party to the upturning of Article 19, and we will not be a party to the killing of freedom of expression in this country. Any amount of paranoia, any amount of breaking of rules. What disturbs me in this matter is that rules are being broken with impunity. Ordinary distribution hawkers, agents are being harassed across the country, are being threatened and coerced by state institutions, and it is not the Prime Minister or the Information Minister that are the leading people taking this charge. It is Pakistan. And Pakistan means that we have developed a spirit of intolerance. We cannot listen. We cannot give anybody a chance. Who can deny? Have we all lost our memories? That a three-time Prime Minister, I'm not even a voter of Nawaz Sharif, but a three-time Prime Minister makes a statement. It's a mild, inconsequential statement. It is not a breach of security. He makes a statement which has been written about countless times at the highest levels. Whether it was appropriate he made that statement is not for me to decide. I think he should have shown restraint. But the fact that the press should go into a feeding frenzy, the electronic media should go into a feeding frenzy and attack every achievement he's done, have we lost our sense of balance? Have we lost our ability to think? For example, we have a Prime Minister who came in not as a caretaker, but as an elected representative to stand in for another one who was removed by the judiciary. It's not for me to comment on the merits or demerits of the judicial decision, but I will say that he has stood his office with dignity, and he has been loyal to his party leader, who was his former Prime Minister. I think we have to acknowledge that these are the values we seek in this country. We seek tolerance. I don't say this to the state institutions in Islamabad who have indulged in this kind of practice. I don't say they are practitioners of autocracy. I say we all have to learn, be tolerant, and accommodate each other in this environment. Because if we don't, this country is in danger. We are in a gray area with respect to international financing and the moves made on us. We are in a gray area with respect to our security concerns. Yes, even in Shahid Khaqan Abbasi's tenure, the army and the military has been able to give us some accretion of good news on a daily basis. Whether it is the line of control today, whether it is something else tomorrow. But let us remember, the first thing we have to learn is tolerance and respect for constitutional articles like Article 19. And the second thing we have to learn is to thank the likes of these people who, under the most difficult and humiliating circumstances, go through the art of governance to keep this country's reputation, constitution, and future intact. Thank you, Mr. Shahid Khaqan Abbasi.